Hey guys, you're watching Cutie Crafts. Today I'll be showing you 4 easy Pinterest inspired planter pot DIYs that I made during the summer to brighten up and add some character to my garden. First, let's make some Topsy Turvy planter pots. Whoever visits your garden will be wondering how these pots are so dangerously stacked on top of each other, but it's actually really easy to make. For my version, I'll be using 3 terracotta pots and an old metal rod that I found in my garage. You could also use old pipes or an old broomstick. Once the rod is stuck deep in the ground, I can take my terracotta pot and put it through the rod, making sure that I leave it in a tilted position. If you're worried about kids or pets potentially running around and knocking the pots over, I would recommend using some industrial glue to stick everything into place. But I'm going to leave mine as is because I want to be able to disassemble it before the cold Canadian winter hits. And this would also allow me to reposition or relocate the pots if I want to change their spot next year. Now let's add the flowers. I'm going to cheat a little and just use some flower baskets. Instead of planting them directly into the pot and filling the pots with soil, I'm just going to place these baskets into the terracotta pots. And like I mentioned earlier, this would just make it a lot easier to disassemble the structure before the winter hits. Also, by doing this, you can switch out the flowers or reposition them into different orders if you get tired of them easily. So I also have a bunch of other flower baskets hanging around, and we often switch them out so that we can have some changes in color throughout the season. You could also try painting the pots different colors or adding your own designs, but I feel like the natural terracotta look really matches my garden really well, so that is how I made the Topsy Turvy planter pots. Next, I'll be making my Topiary Toadstool, which was inspired by the turtle topiary that you can find all over Pinterest. For the base or the stem of the toadstool, I found this white pot that has this nice texture. It looks like it's actually part of a mushroom. And then for the cap, I have this coconut fiber wire basket. I'll also be using this needle to help me get some yarn through this soft mesh screen. This is the same material you use to patch up your screen doors. And of course, most important are the plants and the soil. I'm filling this basket up with some succulent and cactus soil first. Then I filled the rest of it up with just some regular potting soil. The next step is to cover up all the soil with the screen so that none of it can get out. I figured the easiest way to do this would just be to get a needle with some yarn and make some stitches around the mesh with the coconut fiber. I put 2 strands of yarn together so that it would be stronger and just stitched away. Once I made a full circle, I tied a knot at the end and cut off all the excess screen. Now most of the dirt should be able to stay in the mushroom cap when you flip it over, and the screen also offers some drainage when you have to water it. The hardest part of this project is having to cut into that thick coconut fiber and sticking your plants into the dirt. The plant I'm using here is called a hens and chicks plant. I'm placing them all around the cap like they're the little dots that you see on a mushroom cap. For the remaining spaces on the mushroom, I'm using this succulent called stonecrop orpin, which is a type of ground cover, and my mom is here to help me with cutting and filling up all of the empty spaces. I found it really difficult to cut through the coconut fiber and sticking the plants in. I was worried that I would break them, but we got it in, and now we just have to place the base down and the cap on top. It may not look that great at first, but give it some water and a bit of time, and nature will do its thing. It will grow and fill up all of that empty space. The next DIY is my mom's project, and this is a mini gnome fairy garden. Great as an outdoor centerpiece for your patio table. My mom found this really wide and shallow pot, which is perfect for these types of mini gardens. It's around 12 inches in diameter, and she filled it up with some potting soil. Using the leftover stonecrop orpin from our last project, she planted these around the edges of this pot and tried to leave a little bit of space like a pathway in the middle. We found this adorable gardening gnome kit at Canadian Tire for around $15. It came with a toadstool house, a little gardening gnome, I named him Jeffrey with a G, a little wooden chair, some gardening tools, and a guardian frog named Leopold. To really complete the look of this mini garden, my mom found some flat beach pebbles so that Jeffrey has a pathway to walk to and from his house. I think this turned out so cute. I wasn't originally planning on making this for this video, but I love how it turned out and let my mom know how she did on this project. Finally, this is my planter pot lighthouse that I made to light up my garden. I used 3 different sizes of terracotta pots and I painted each of them white using some spray paint. I wanted to go with a red and white theme because one of my favorite lighthouses that I've ever visited is the Peggy's Cove Lighthouse located in Nova Scotia. As beautiful as Peggy's Cove is, it's also very dangerous and risky to be near the water because it's right beside the Atlantic Ocean. The waves are really strong. If you go on those dark rocks, there is a chance that you will be swept into the ocean and never come out. But as long as you stay a safe distance away from the coastline, then it's so fun to be in the Maritimes and to visit the Peggy's Cove Lighthouse. Red and white is also very Canadian, so it'll be a good fit for my garden. And once all of the paint dries, I just have to add some little windows. Each of the windows will be 2 inches tall and 1 inch wide. I used some painter's tape to help make a stencil for the rectangle. Then I painted it black. Do some touch-ups to straighten out the lines. When the paint dried, I applied some matte varnish to help protect the paint from the rain. For the lantern room of the lighthouse, I have this solar-powered LED pathway light that will go on top of all of the pots. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys are able to try these garden DIYs out. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time with another kitty craft. Bye!